The Viking story often feels like it's straight out of a legend: fearless explorers, daring battles, and a thirst for adventure. But when it comes to their time in North America, the reality is both fascinating and humbling. Around the year 1000 CE, Leif Erikson and his crew set sail from Greenland, searching for new opportunities. They found themselves in what they called Vinland, a land rich with resources but full of challenges. This journey led to some of the earliest recorded interactions between Europeans and the indigenous peoples of North America. Encounters that would define the Vikings' short-lived presence in the New World. Imagine it: dense forests, wildlife everywhere, and vines bursting with grapes. That's what the Vikings saw when they landed in Vinland. It must have seemed like paradise. Archaeologists have even confirmed that they built settlements here, such as the one at Lonso Meadows in Newfoundland, which offers a glimpse into their attempt to establish a foothold. But there was one big catch. Vinland wasn't empty. The land was home to indigenous peoples the Vikings referred to as Skrellingar. These native communities, likely ancestors of modern Inuit and Native American tribes, were deeply connected to the land, thriving as skilled hunters and builders of their own societies. At first, it seems the Vikings approached these new neighbors with caution, perhaps even curiosity. After all, the Norse were traders as much as they were explorers. They probably tried to exchange goods with the Native Americans. But as time went on, cultural misunderstandings and competition over resources soured relations. Tensions boiled over into violence. The Vikings, despite their warrior reputation, were on foreign soil and vastly outnumbered. The Native Americans, masters of their terrain, used their deep knowledge of the land and guerrilla tactics to resist. For the Vikings, this was a losing battle from the start. It wasn't just the battles with Native Americans that made life difficult for the Norse. The supply lines back to Greenland and Iceland were long and unreliable. Back home, their settlements were struggling with harsh climates, dwindling resources, and infighting. Eventually, they faced a tough truth. Staying in Vinland wasn't sustainable. The Vikings packed up and returned to Greenland, leaving behind their dream of a New World colony. It was the end of their adventure in North America, though the stories of Vinland would live on in their sagas. The Vikings' time in Vinland was brief, but it left a mark. Their sagas, like the Saga of the Greenlanders and the Saga of Eric the Red, captured their encounters with the Skrellingar and painted vivid pictures of their experiences. These stories became part of the rich tapestry of Norse oral tradition, fueling tales of exploration for generations. For the Native Americans, the Norse arrival was likely just a small blip in their long histories, especially compared to the massive upheavals caused by European colonization centuries later. Still, these early meetings between the Old World and the New World are a fascinating chapter in human history. The Vikings' retreat from Vinland wasn't just about clashing with the Native Americans. It revealed the limits of their expansion. Unlike later European settlers, the Norse didn't have the resources, numbers, or technological edge to sustain a transatlantic colony. Their voyages were more about exploration and gathering resources than building empires. And back in Greenland, things were falling apart. The Little Ice Age brought colder temperatures, and their isolated settlements faced economic challenges and infighting. With so much going wrong at home, the dream of Vinland was simply too much to hold on to. What if the Vikings had been able to stay? Could they have built alliances with Native Americans? Changed the course of history? These questions make their story even more intriguing. While we'll never know the answers, one thing is clear. The Vikings were fearless adventurers. Their brief encounter with North America shows their unrelenting spirit and serves as a reminder of the complexities of cultural exchange. As researchers uncover more clues and the sagas continue to inspire us, the story of the Vikings in Vinland remains a compelling tale of ambition, resilience, and the challenges of connecting different worlds.